channel, as somebody was dunking on it last night on Twitter for being, a psyop, something maybe it's funded by the, U.S. empire, the security state, the CIA, State Department, etc. Because they, the channel name is the New American Left, but they're parroting all of these U.S. State Department talking points, claiming that China is committing genocide against the Uyghur Muslim population in Xinjiang, and they made this whole video about it, and they like to dunk on North Korea when they don't seem to have a whole lot to say about the U.S. empire or imperialism, what the U.S. is doing in, let's say, Syria, Venezuela, what they're doing to Iran, Nicaragua, etc. But no, it's China that's bad. China is committing genocide against the Uyghurs. So they made this whole video about it. As you can see the title, yes, the Uyghur genocide is real. New American Left. And then I'm not going to make you watch all of it because honestly it's very cringe. So they're going to say, I'm not going to rely on Adrian Zenz, but we're going to rely on this other unbiased report out of the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. And I'm going to get into a second why that report and why those authors are not honest actors. And actually, if you want the facts of what's going on, we will look at the report out of Italy. Some Italian researchers and scholars went there. They came to a completely different conclusion than these hacks at the Australian Strategic Policy Institute.
Expert on the Uyghur situation, Adrian Zenz, but his evidence has long since been called into question. Zenz himself has no credentials directly pertinent.
Yes, and he completely manipulated, misrepresented data. He's a far-right Christian fundamentalist, hates China with a fervent passion.
Analysis or Uyghur culture, and has ties to right-wing think tanks.
So, at least he recognizes that. But again, the people that he uses in place of Adrian Zenz failed evidence and argument, not much better. So this New American Left person obviously didn't do any type of legwork. He just likes to regurgitate whatever fits his anti-China worldview and rhetoric.
Such as the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. I am being serious. For this reason, much of Zenz's evidence regarding the situation can be, at best, characterized as extremely biased. We will instead attempt to utilize other pieces of evidence pertaining to the birth rate. The first piece of evidence we will review is family de-planning, the coercive campaign to drive down indigenous...
So, supposedly this is a more reliable source, not as biased, according to New American Left, at least in comparison to Adrian Zenz. Let's look a little bit into Nathan Ruser and James Leopold, as well as the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, which is the organization that they work for and who put out this report. It's right there. So this is the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, where they get their funding from. Biggest funder, Australian Department of Defense, annual core payment of $4 million. Other federal stuff from the Australian government, Australian Office Taipei, agriculture. Obviously that's not as important, but foreign affairs, trade. So their biggest funding is from the Australian military. Overseas governments and agencies, this is where it gets even a little more in history. Embassy in Israel, Embassy of Japan, Kingdom of the Netherlands, Foreign Commonwealth Office, so the UK government. Look at that. Okay. U.S. State Department. Why would the U.S. State Department be concerned with mapping China's technology giants? Yes, I'm sure it's out of concern for human rights and democracy. U.S. Department of Defense, Smart Tech Project, NATO. Okay, so this is where this report that this New American Left is citing, this is where this agency that those two researchers work for. You don't think they have a certain viewpoint, a certain bias in mind that they're obviously trying to get across? They're not fucking honest actors, but this new American left person is trying to pretend that they are to get their freaking psyop across the that the Chinese government is committing genocide against the Uyghurs. It's fucking disgusting, and they consider themselves on the left. Get the fuck out of here. You're nothing more than a fucking piece of shit imperialist. U.S. State Department travel sponsorship. UK Foreign and Commonwealth Office. U.S. Embassy, Canberra. Defense Industries, Lockheed Martin. Naval Group Australia, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, Saab Australia. You don't think, maybe being so tied in to the military industrial complex, to the U.S. State Department, to the U.S. Department of Defense, to the U.K. Commonwealth Office, NATO. I mean, that is a significant amount of funding. Almost $800,000 from the U.S. State Department, $200,000 U.S. Department of Defense. I mean, again, that's other overseas agencies. They receive more from the U.S. State Department than anybody else by quite a wide margin. But this is a unbiased. This is a unvarnished source. They're coming at this, through a very scholarly lens. No, they're fucking not. Both of those authors are just as anti-China as Adrian Zenz. Jesus Christ. Look at the stuff they're finding. Look at what they're posting on here. They also hate Syria. And look at this. Look at how Syrian economy lies in ruins and China sniffs. Who has fucking destroyed China? The fucking United States. And if China wants to go in and, have some, Belt and Road initiatives there that would actually better the people, what the fuck is wrong? They're literally retweeting Guardian propaganda. Okay, this is the supposed scholarly sources that the New American Left is citing in their claim that China is committing genocide against the Uyghurs. I mean, Jesus Christ. And then BuzzFeed, China could lock up 1 million Muslims in Xinjiang. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Okay, so these are the fucking hacks. Again, this is the same shit you would see parroted on probably Adrian Zen's fucking social media. So that's one of the authors. Here's the other one, Nathan Rooser. Let's see. China's high-tech penal colony. Darren Black, they're fucking hack. Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Again, these people are not honest actors. Either they just deeply, deeply hate China for some reason and want to make all these outrageous claims, or, maybe working for an organization that is funded by the U.S. State Department, weapons contractors by the Australian Department of Defense. Maybe that has an effect on the work. I mean, Jesus Christ. Forced labor. Again, the only unbiased report I've seen come out about this that doesn't seem to have any type of political bent either way, that actually went to China, went to Xinjiang, is this Italian report. That doesn't seem to have these completely, ridiculous, trumped up claims. Doesn't have, again, seem to have any bias either way. Italy releases research report on Xinjiang issues. U.S. seeks geopolitical benefits in the name of human rights. And again, that is what this type of talk by so-called people on the left. Again, you're not on the left unless you're in staunch support of anti-imperialism. This person's obviously not. I mean, what do you Jesus fucking Christ. I just don't know what to say to these fucking people. Again, this was June 30th. 3 research institutions in Italy, the Italian Institute of Politics, Society and Economics, the Italian Institute of International Diplomacy, and the Italian Eurasian Mediterranean Research Center jointly released a research report written by multiple independent researchers. Xinjiang, Understanding Complexity, Construction, Peace Through Investigation and Research, Restores the Truth About Xinjiang Issue. Report criticizes relevant countries represented by the U.S. for seeking geopolitical benefits through human rights issues. I'm talking about here we go. To distinguish it from the prejudiced and specious accusations from the Five Eyes Alliance countries and some think tanks, like the one we just pointed out, the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, highly problematic, both the people putting out the reports for that organization as well as the funding that the organization itself receives. Namely, the U.S. State Department, Department of Defense, Australian State Department, military industrial contractors. So I'll link this down below. I made a previous video going through most of this. The report believes that China's anti-terrorism and de-radicalization actions are based on the rule of law, respect for human rights, and protection of the legitimate rights and interests of the parties involved. Look at this. The report points out that between 2018 and 2020, so very recently, more than 1,200 reps from more than 100 countries, including UN officials, UN permanent reps, diplomats, journalists, and reps of religious institutions, were able to visit Xinjiang. No suspicion of race or ethnicity was found. Evidence that religious prejudice suppresses local residents. The report pointed out that the Vocational Education and Training Center helps people who have violated the law reintegrate into society. Such policies have often been imitated by countries such as Kazakhstan and Indonesia. The goal of de-radicalization. Forced labor, cotton picking, most done by machine. It's also high paying. The countries that have condemned China are all Western countries, but China's ethnic policy towards Xinjiang has received the support of many Islamic countries. Report quoted Turkish President Erdogan, happy lives of all ethnic minorities in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region benefit China's prosperity. Fight terrorism distorted by the West. Again, like, all of this narrative is supporting U.S. imperialism and aggression in the region, and there's no evidence to support the claims of genocide or forced labor, etc. So there's Polandi, one of the authors, an Italian scholar of international relations. Said in an interview, reporters that the West has no evidence of allegations concerning the Xinjiang issue. Here we go. So I think this speaks to that report by the ASPI that the New American Left was trying to cite as some, highly regarded source on the issue when it wasn't. Prandi said that some think tank scholars and media in the West concocted false reports and unwarranted accusations about Xinjiang, which had caused serious negative effects. This is the original intention of him and other scholars who decided to write such a report that is objective and independent as possible. Boom. Don't have that with Adrian Zenz. You don't have this with these anti-China hacks at the ASPI in Australia. Quote, our purpose is to explain what happened by citing most of the data from the international, small part of the data from China. What are the responses? Because no one talks about Xinjiang's long-term terrorist attack, so this is a real problem, and the Chinese government must deal with it. Many top international scholars believe that a report is more anti-China out of the interest than those in recent years. The materials are more objective, more independent, more credible. It definitely seems to have a more reasonable approach and outlook, right? Genocide, forced labor, openly China, and their orgs. Yes, as I pointed out with those two authors and the organization, the ASPI in Australia. The purpose was not to protect human rights at all. He said these measures have no scientific basis but are based on ideological and geopolitical stances, just like this New American Left parodying U.S. State Department talking points in defense of U.S. empire and imperialism and trying to destabilize China from within. Such things have happened many times before. As for the U.S. and these human rights orgs, they don't care about the well-being of Xinjiang or Hong Kong people at all. They don't care about promoting the process of peaceful coexistence. They only care about how to increase the tension in the situation. Why? For geopolitics. They compete for international power. 100%. 2019, Parandi visited Urumqi and Kashgar in Xinjiang. The long history and culture left a deep impression. What he saw in Xinjiang was Uyghur and other ethnic minorities whose religious beliefs, national language, and culture effectively protected and passed on. No signs of forced labor or so-called genocide. So somebody who's actually been to the country, a independent, seems to be fairly unbiased international researcher in collaboration with other researchers from Italy from these three institutions. No evidence of genocide, no evidence of forced labor. But the New American Left conveniently leaving out this report. Again, the only report that I've seen that's actually unbiased and isn't doing it, isn't fervently anti-China, doesn't have, that kind of frame of mind. Quote, their allegations against Xinjiang are inconsistent with the facts. There's no such thing as any Uyghur forced labor in China for agriculture production or other production. We don't have any evidence. What we know is the young people from the Education Training Center went to the factory either in Xinjiang or elsewhere in China, a series of job opportunities, but we have no evidence to prove those accusations. This is fact. Boom. Be awesome to somehow get one of the authors of this on here. And this is from China itself, Global Times China. Analysis reasons for the continuous growth of the total pop in Xinjiang. So Uyghur population increasing, Han population decreasing. Ethnic minorities increase from 12 to 15, increase of 22%. Uyghur population increased from 10 million to 12, an increase of 25%, while the Han population only increased by 2. The growth rate of the Uyghur population is higher than not only that of the regional in total, but also that of other ethnic minorities, and obviously much higher than that of the Han. So you see the Uyghur population increasing, the Han population not so much. Again, this is from official documents from the Statistical Yearbook of China. But this fucking hack is cited supposed evidence from this Australian think tank, which the authors hate China with a passion. The organization itself is funded from the defense contractors, the military industrial complex, the U.S. State Department. But this New American Left person thinks this is some go-to source. This is a reputable source. And these people don't have the same problems that Adrian Zenz does. Get the fuck out of here, you goddamn psyop. Jesus Christ. I'm not even going to play any more of this because it's just, again, propaganda. This fucking channel is a psyop. Downvote this video. It's a piece of shit. Look at this. I like this. This video is an absolute joke, so I had to like this comment. I'm an American citizen living in Hanoi, Vietnam. My wife is half Uyghur on her father's side. We have traveled to Xinjiang several times. There's a standard medium security judicial incarceration prison that houses normal inmates. There's no genocide happening whatsoever. This channel is spouting misinformation about China. Well said. I'm not disagreeing. Well, you should disagree. Sure, but why? Do you believe Adrian Zen's claims? Yes, like this person gets it. I mean, it took literally 2 minutes of searching to find out where this ASPI gets their fucking funding from. See, people see through this bullshit. Not everybody is buying for this pro-war, this pro-imperialism propaganda rhetoric against China. ASPI is funded by U.S. military contractors, so they're no better than Zens. Even if all you say is true, I don't trust the U.S. to do the right thing regarding the issue. Yes. And this person, NAL, so this horseshit channel, misrepresents the documents at 753, claiming it is a law. The documents actually list the indicators of extremist behavior similar to FBI reports about domestic terrorist groups. NAL also at around 18 minutes unintentionally destroys his own argument. The authors are admitting that they have no evidence of targeted birth control and using larger birth rates in Uyghur regions as evidence of targeting. This does not work because those are exactly regions whose birth rates were very high before 2016, as I showed from that report. The urban Han population already had low birth rates because they already governed by the family planning laws. Their birth rates were already low. I debunk more, but those are pretty much only sources cited. Fuck yeah, dude. This guy killed it. Yep, here we go. This channel is definitely not left-wing at all. Jesus Christ, it's neoliberal as fuck. Stop framing yourself as leftist for clicks, imperialist propaganda. That's all you repeat. Bam. Look at that. And then you notice how they have no response to... What did somebody say here? CCP show. The video, the New American Left hack, has no responses for people calling out their bullshit, because they don't. Again, it should not New American Left, it should be New American Hack, New American Adria Zenz, New American China Hater, whatever, because that's all they are. They're obviously not a honest actor, and you're not on the left if you're not an anti-imperialist. This fucking hack isn't. So definitely don't subscribe. Don't get your news analysis from the New American Left, because it's absolute fucking State Department propaganda. Like the video if you liked the damn video. Subscribe for more content. That would be awesome. Peace. Much love. All part of the people.